What is your favorite movie about war? Not a movie, but Band of Brothers. If I had to watch one movie or a series about World War II, that would be my pick. Saving Private Ryan. Holy shit, yes. The D-Day landing at Normandy was simply mind-blowing and set up the premise so well. Add on powerful performances and a tremendous script, and it is a complete feast for anyone. Full Metal Jacket or Apocalypse Now Redux. I know 1917 is fairly recent, so it's perhaps too soon to judge its place in history. But holy cow, that movie is amazing. Might be my all-time favorite. A World War II comedy called Kelly's Heroes 1970. It had an all-star cast of Clint Eastwood, Telly Savalas, Don Ricks and Donald Sutherland. This one, Bridge on the River Kwai, and Stalag 17 are my favorites. But because Kelly's Heroes has Harry Dean Stanton in it, it gets the edge. Dr. Strangelove, not just my favorite movie about war, but my favorite movie ever. Greater than I can no longer sit back and allow communist infiltration, communist indoctrination, communist subversion and the international communist conspiracy to sap and impurify all of our precious bodily fluids. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. Downfall. Bruno Ganz gives one of the best performances I've ever seen. Inglourious Bastards. The card game was the best part. I don't know. Lots of best parts. The opening scene, Christopher Waltz drinking milk in the Frenchman's cabin. The interview of the captured Nazi officer, running into Waltz and forced to watch him eat that cream food. The three Americans trying to say their names in Italian. Gorlomi. And of course the card game per bar scene was great. Fury. Phenomenal movie. A lot of war movies glamorize war and make it look cool and exciting. I think Fury does a great job of showing that it's total hell. Made me think of what a nightmare it would be to be in the situation, and that I'm lucky I've never had to experience that. Tropic Thunder. My favorite movie about making a movie about a book about a war that's made up. Black Hawk Down. Dunkirk. I'm shocked that nobody else mentioned it. I did not like that movie. It just didn't keep my attention. Gettysburg. It's long, and for a lot of people they'd think it's boring, but it's some good stuff. The attention to detail and historical accuracy is an impressive feat. Definitely a good watch for anyone interested in the Civil War. Bridge on the River Kwai or Great Escape. The Great Escape is definitely my favorite. Lots of other great movies on this thread for sure, but The Great Escape has always really hit me hard in all the right ways. Hacksaw Ridge. The part where he just continually says, "just one more," as he gets 50 different guys through the night hits hard. Mel Gibson did an undoubtedly excellent job with this project. By the time the war scenes happened, I was shocked at the level of sheer brutality of the carnage. At the same time, I couldn't help but feel this film was basically Spielberg light. Come and see. This one is simply brutal. I have approximately 200 war movies in my collection, and this is the one that gets the most visceral reaction. Das Boot. The full version is nearly 5 hours if I remember correctly. German film with subtitles. 1981. Brilliant film. Enemy at the Gates. Not about the fighting part of war, but I really liked Grave of the Fireflies. Came here to say this. That movie is probably the best anti-war movie in existence. Spoiler alert. Gangs of New York. Most movies about war are romanticized tales from the point of view of the proud soldier. Even the war is hell subgenre is really about how amazing soldiers are to endure the gauntlet. Gangs of New York doesn't appear to be a war movie on the surface, because it's from the point of view of people who oppose the war, and assume it doesn't affect their lives. Throughout the movie, the narrator keeps trying to shift the focus of the story towards the horrific civil war taking place. But the characters in the story are obsessed over their personal grudges with each other and don't take any note. The war story just keeps getting worse and worse, but the main characters just keep ignoring it. Finally, when it looks like the main story is going to come to a conclusion, they're all killed by the war. Both the villain and the hero keep fighting their stupid grudge to the very end. But by the end of the movie, the actual characters in the movie are completely forgotten. Irrelevant. They never mattered. The war did. I've seen this movie at least 15x and never looked at it this way. I mean, I saw the ending as ironic that the soldiers killed everyone, but you get an upvote. The boy in the striped pajamas, the pianist. This guy, girl likes to cry. All Quiet on the Western Front. Either 1930 or 1979. Such damn good movies. The Imitation Game. It shows a different aspect of the war. Probably where a different kind of fight is going on. Deceiving the enemy. Misdirected. War of a different kind. War Horse was cool. The scene where the horse runs through no man's land really fucked me up though. But they made a great scene of it, but having both sides come together. The two Iwo Jima movies Clint Eastwood made, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima. The one seen through Japanese eyes was truly impressive. Also, the non-recognizable faces of American soldiers being figurants. It really gave an unique perspective to these kind of movies. It's not every day someone makes a Hollywood war movie a scene from the enemy of the war we were involved in. Jojo Rabbit, We Were Soldiers was really well done emo. By far my most favorite. I'm a little sad I had scrolled so far to see listed. The Thin Red Line. This should be higher with more upvotes. Absolutely incredible film, monsieur. The Dirty Dozen. Platoon. There is only one Jarhead. Black Hawk Down. 1917. The answer changes depending on my mood. Many of the contemporary ones are already mentioned, so I will name a few older ones. Mr. Roberts. It Makes Me Cry as Hard as Field of Dreams. Stalag 17. I think William Holden won an Academy Award for it. It is long and no war scenes. A Bridge Too Far. Cliff Clavin is in it. So are Robert Redford and Sean Connery. The Longest Day. Just about every major star at the time was in it. Guns of Navarone. Edit. Correcting the name of Mr. Roberts from Mr. Roberts. I rewatched The Longest Day recently. Enjoyed it just as much the third or fourth time as the first. Maybe even more, as I was able to follow some of the German this time. Other older favorites are Battle of Britain, 663 Squadron, The Heroes of Telemark, and The Dam Busters. Battle of Britain is on later today and I am recording it. Schindler's List. Troy, Hector. Real Band of Brothers fictional. Rogue One. Just watched Rogue One again yesterday. I love the last several minutes. That the heroes die and the desperation to get the info on the ship. Very bold for Disney. It's why that one is the best of the new movies. It's by far my favorite SW film now. It's the only one that actually made it feel like a galaxy-wide civil war was going on and that the rebels really were completely outclassed until the OT events. The Pianist. Both are Vietnam War. Tropic Thunder, a comedy platoon actual Vietnam War movie. Starship Troopers. Star Wars. Objectively the best answer. Every other war movie is fighting for 13th place. Memphis Belle. Just epic. Full Metal Jacket. I would say Apocalypse Now, but Paths of Glory. Platoon. Gettysburg. And The Longest Day can give Apocalypse Now a run for its money. The Lord of the Rings. Master and Commander. Far Side of the World. It's centered on a British frigate in the Napoleonic War. Kingdom of Heaven. Throughout the movie they keep questioning their faith in and discussing the pointlessness of the fighting. The movie has its issues, but the various characters' attitude towards war makes it the most interesting. I just mentioned this in another thread, but the forest fight had perhaps the best gathering of legendary warriors I've seen. In one scene, you have Qui-Gon Jinn, Legolas, Sir Jaime Lannister, Remus Lupin, and Lucius Vorenus. Later in the movie, you have the Incredible Hulk, Mad-Eye Moody, and Ozymandias. I wish we could get more media based on the Crusades. but I fear none of them will measure up to Kingdom of Heaven. A movie just on the life of Saladin would be amazing. Kingdom of Heaven, Director's Cut. Especially the Director's Cut where Baldwin IV and V get more screen time. Not a movie, The Pacific is my favorite of them all by far. Apocalypse Now. Lord of War. Three Kings. Such an underrated film, monsieur. Agreed. I guess the second Iraq invasion made people less receptive to a wacky Gulf War caper heist movie. I mean, it came out in 1999. The Pianist, The Deer Hunter and Platoon are two of my all-time favorite films. Been looking for a Deer Hunter comment everywhere. That movie is awesomely harrowing. I just like that it shows all different layers of war. Their friendship before the war itself and the mental impact after. Christopher Walken 100% deserved the Oscar he received for it. He definitely did. One shot. Did we just become best friends? Forrest Gump. Star Wars. Either Red Tails or Flyboys. Straighten up and fly right behind enemy lines. With Owen Wilson. Well, I really enjoyed this movie. The scene with the two young kids knowingly playing in the streets, avoiding tripwires, was really powerful. Memphis Belle, Empire of the Sun. Memphis Belle is an amazing and sadly almost unknown movie. Great insight into what bomber crews dealt with every time they went out. It is. I am surprised more people don't know it. It's star-studded and really well done. These are my two also. Captain America: The First Avenger. The Hurt Locker. Full Metal Jacket. The Hunt for Red October. We Were Soldiers. Saving Private Ryan. Tora. We Were Soldiers has one of the most disturbing images I have ever seen. Great movie though. Know exactly the scene you talk about. Couldn't get that image out of my head for days. The napalm scene. Hamburger Hill and Platoon. Glad someone else says Hamburger Hill. Hugely underrated. It ain't nothing. I Am Reality. Gain and again Shoppy's Choice. Beautiful story how that worked for just someone. 1917. Hacksaw Ridge. Saving Private Ryan. The HBO Band of Brothers series had so many incredible scenes. The Battle of Algiers. Being a neo-realist film shot less than 10 years after Algeria got its independence from France. Meaning most of the people in the movie actually lived through it. It feels more like you're watching a newsreel than you are a film, monsieur. Almost cinema verite. Apocalypse Now. It might not be the most realistic movie about war, but there's something great about that movie. Kilo 2 Bravo. Also known as Kayaki. As a U.S. veteran who was a medic in Afghanistan, watching this movie was a surreal experience for me. It's very reminiscent of how things are overseas with the disregard for uniform standards in shaving the shit hitting the fan in an instant to backup taking forever to extract. Even the interactions with some of the local children felt familiar. Highly recommend it. I have more than one. Saving Private Ryan 1917 Platoon Midway Dunkirk Fury Hacksaw Ridge. I love seeing Hacksaw Ridge on this thread. The Pianist. Grave of Fireflies. Ah fuck. 1917. I don't know much about World War history. Didn't get the best education from the state of S. But I do know good movies. It's made to look like one long running shot. It's got insanely good VFX and practical effects. Amazing story. And it's not your typical war movie. Instead of battles of companies of soldiers, we follow two British soldiers on their way to deliver a message to the front lines. Simple but executed perfectly. I do recommend seeing it if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.